Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья! Поздравляю вас с новым нашим воскресным вебинаром, как всегда в студии.
Good morning, dear friends. We are congratulating with you with our new webinar. We're here from Mac Online. The topic today is the legacy of Baal HaSulam. It's a very renowned Kabbalist, the source for us. And Rabash is his oldest son. So they took like this chain of major Kabbalists and limited it. They just concentrated it in two main Kabbalists. We don't miss anything if we just study those two Kabbalists. They were the latest one to us, the closest ones. They're the modern Kabbalists of the 20th century. All the previous Kabbalists from previous centuries, they are collected, they are gathered in the writings of Baal HaSulam and Rabash. So we don't miss anything. There's a lot of works where they cite the sources, the older ancient sources, the book of Zohar, the book of Yetzirah, creation. And also there are those where they write themselves and it's easier to read them. We don't have to even get out of the writings of Rabash and Baal HaSulam because they are sufficient for our correction. So we can just read Baal HaSulam and not read the book of creation of Abraham and get everything out of it. Yes, that's what I think. It's like in childhood where we took these lenses and got the ray light in it and everything was seen. Yes, that's how Baal HaSulam, he did a commentary on the whole book of Sulam, of Zohar, and Ari and everything practically. So there's nothing in the system of the upper governance that he would not touch. He really explained everything, neared it all to us, all the material, so that now there is no chance that we won't understand anything in this world. We will. And the aim of it, if we will just study the writings of Baal HaSulam. I just know a little bit of his story. I wrote about him. He was a revolutionary. He did such a turnaround, and in his area, people either hated him very much or just loved him. There was nothing in the middle. Yes, that's true. People that understood him, that loved him, there were those, and the others just hated him really, really badly. When they buried him, there were people that would come to his grave that would spit on it and just stumble over it. Yeah, can you imagine? So they thought they can change something by their actions. So for you, who was Baal HaSulam? What are the texts of him? Oh, my eyes were open with Baal HaSulam. Yes, because before his works, I read a lot of Ramchal and Ramak, a lot of Kabbalists, very serious Kabbalists that were quite popular, and they were really big Kabbalists, Agra, and I did not see that I'm gaining anything out of it. I could not enter this flow. I did not understand their language, like that they did not pass anything on to me. I'm reading, I'm hearing something, but it's not the system, that the explanation that they chose. It did not pass on me. When I opened Baal HaSulam, it was just like everything opened. Everything became understood. Not understood, but the text and how he's leading you. Look here and look there. And now you can see the difference, and there's and there. It comes out that the teacher is teaching you, he's playing with you, he's asking and answering. That's how Baal HaSulam's works are built. He's asking questions first in the article, and then all the article he's just explaining and answering those questions. So very, very methodically correct. That's why I was very drawn to it. So you are attracted to the scientific explanation. Yes. Not just very much of a emotional. No. Emotional to me was something wrong and not necessary and not important. Why was his language scientific? Well, just because he was asking and answering. Here in this article, I want to clarify these following 20 questions, and that's how he goes on. He clarifies one after another and comes to a result. And as a result, we come here to this answer and that answer. And this approach, for me, as a graduate of a university, and beginning the new scientific worker, scientist, it was very close. It's not just some religious person that's trying to confuse me with his feelings and because that's how he feels. No, and he tries to put it upon me. No, it's very, very important, this approach. It's obvious that he's a scientifically oriented person. He also, Baal HaSulam was engaged in other famous people like politics and his contemporaries. So his work with his older son, my teacher, Rabash was remembering word by word what Baal HaSulam was saying, and Alisa is asking here, how reading of Shamati can help me digest the new spiritual state that I started feeling when I started learning the science of Kabbalah. Well, Alisa, here's an answer for you. Shamati is attained gradually, very gradually. When now you are a woman of 20 years or a man, doesn't matter. So in 10 years or 15 years, you will start understanding if you keep on following us and be with us. Maybe in 10 years, you'll start understanding what this book is really about, the depth of it. You will start finding in yourself the adequate states. The book will become your leading guide according to your spiritual states in your soul, and you will read it and everything will turn around inside of you. It's not like a novel or a psychological transformation inside of you. No, you will have revelations from different angles. The revelations of the upper world you'll start feeling inside of you. That's how the book will work more and more. But don't wait that it's gonna happen fast. It can take good 10 years. Baal HaSulam said when he found the book of the book Tree of Life, Rabash said he didn't even know Baal HaSulam, that only in 20 years he would attain what he read and then realize what he really found there. Yeah, you can only in 10 and 15 years that it can only penetrate into you. But it's not a problem. It's essential and necessary condition for the attaining of the upper world, because we have to build inside of us the elements of the perception of it, of understanding it, of attaining it. That's not easy. That's born in us, but with little pieces. And this sensitive mechanism that we build in us, that's connected with our brain, the brain mechanism, and the connection of them, of these two systems, the emotional and the thinking one, it's not comprehensible by us. We don't have it in our world. Music or art or sort of art, doesn't matter. It's all it's not really precisely connected feeling in all our notions of our world that is connected to our feelings, how one is depending on the other. And the connection between those two only happens in Kabbalah. That's why it takes so much time, but it doesn't matter. The important is that we build this connection between the feeling and understanding in order to influence the feeling from the understanding, and understanding from the feeling. That is the construction, the structure of the soul. That's what we have to build in us, and it's what's being born in us gradually, and it takes much time. But that's okay, you're all young people, and even if you have someone like an old person, I assure you, even they will have enough time to attain during their life and then touch upon perfection and wholeness. No one is given this chance to touch Kabbalah in vain. It's all for a reason. If the person is given a chance, if he heard it and he came, then he has a chance in his life to fulfill and realize this goal. It all depends on his efforts. Another question: the reading of Pticha, does it help us more? No. Pticha and the study of the 10 Sefirot, it's an additional to build our soul. It's an addition, in accord and in addition to the writings of Baal HaSulam and Rambash. We don't have greater influence to the soul than the articles of Shamati, I heard. It's so in spiritual work, can you compare it with the letters of Baal HaSulam and Shamati? Well, in articles of Shamati, Baal HaSulam takes a certain topic and then divides it very, very precisely, explaining what is being talked about in every article. But in letters, he's generally sort of up to date. He takes the weekly portion of the Torah, and but there's very, very important parts up there that we just kind of swallow and can't let go. Yeah, like in the article number 17 of Baal HaSulam, when you were giving a lecture in front of teachers there, when it was very, very influential to them. It was just a little deviation when it said that the little deviation on the path comes to a very, very great result, really influenced them. Now the question from St. Petersburg, they say that one page of spiritual text is enough to reach spirituality. Why then they wrote so many books? Well, first of all, every person has his own type of soul, mission, and attainment. So someone likes this one more, someone likes another more, and we come to the Creator in different ways. We're not making the same steps. Someone's walking on the left leg, another one on the right, someone is holding the next step, someone's not. I can't even see that I don't envision that there's any articles of Rabash or Baal HaSulam that would repeat each other, from where we wouldn't be able to take the grain and digest it, feed from it. Everything is digested in us and gives result. Another question from Kiev. Why Baal HaSulam burned more than 50 articles? What did we lose in them? Oh, I don't know what we lost in them, because I can't say that. But yeah, definitely. He burned them because most of them he didn't complete. He stopped writing them because they prohibited him from publishing them. You study Kabbalah, you see online also that there's some bad things writing about this, but we still can disseminate, and that does not prevent us from dissemination. So there was a no to an English mandate that governed Israel back then, and they prohibited him from writing more. So he said, if this is so, this is the sign for me not to write anymore, and he stopped. It's a great pity that he did, and then we are deprived of a lot of unique material now. Of course, it probably should have happened, otherwise I probably would not know what to do. Why do you often say that it is also a revelation when they burn the manuscripts? Oh, the thing that the Kabbalists write something and then burn it means that he already revealed it in this world. It's already went through a person in this world that he's feeling, so that the upper force already fulfilled itself in this person, and when it's been realized in one person, then others can actually attain it, because if one person has fulfilled, so the other one they can burn it. It doesn't matter. Question from Russia: what is the main difference between the writings of Rabash and Baal HaSulam? Baal HaSulam is a person of the university, but is a scientist. Is a very precise, sharp brain of the scientist, a systematic person, the one that analyzes. It was his approach to life and to Kabbalah. His son, the oldest son, Rabash, he's more of the emotional, personal, closer to people, the one that implements the method. He was more of a he took everything that his father did and optimized it for everyone, popularized it for everyone. So Rabash just took the hand of can we say that he just laid the material so it will be understood for others step by step, laid over the material of Baal HaSulam. He really described very precisely how to start feeling the Creator, to enter the spiritual world, how to interact with the feelings that are evoked. Baal HaSulam was writing about it in a higher, very high and haughty way. They're quite different. Question from Riga. A lot of people are asking if we can read the sources of Baal HaSulam without commentaries of you, Rav, or someone else, and we don't really know what to answer, if they need it, if they will understand anything out of it. How important is it to read Baal HaSulam, Rabat, or your books? No. What? The sources of Ari before Baal HaSulam, you mean? Of course they can read them, but you won't understand anything. The gates of intentions and all that. Well, I myself even I actually don't use that anymore, because every historical period has its own manner of laying over the system of the upper worlds what was in different periods before is connected to different souls that were coming down to this world. So what happened 3,000 years ago, we have those writings, but we can't really seriously and to study them and penetrate into them. It's not the layer of the souls that can teach us, not the depth of the souls that can teach us, but those that are closer to us from Ari in 15th and 16th century of the Kabbalists. Those we can understand more, we can interact with them in a better way with their writings. In general, I think that after Baal HaSulam and Rabash, we will not need any new Kabbalists. We are only here to connect the humanity to it, do the first steps, and then enter their writings. Friends, prepare your questions and we will ask them. Question from Berlin about Shamati book, a very, very important book. If Shamati evokes a lot of feelings in me, is that a sign that it is for my? Does it fit the quality of my soul? Yeah. Well, you have nowhere to go actually. The books of Baal HaSulam and Rabash are what you have. And I advise not to pay attention to anything else. The question from Minsk: what was the difference of the writings of Baal HaSulam and Ramak? Well, there's a huge difference. Ramak was explaining everything from the point of spreading the light, and Ari was explaining everything from the point of the kelim, desires. And since we are desires and kelim, the system is closer to us. when Baal HaSulam saw how Ari explains everything, he left everything and just started studying from him as a child, as a student, though he was 2 times older than Ari. Ramak was like the last one in his generation about where he was describing lights, and Ari was starting with kilim from Masachim, the screens. Alek is asking from Kramatorsk. There's a lot of videos with the music of Baal HaSulam. Was he a musician or a composer? Every Kabbalist, once in a while, in a certain period of their spiritual life, wrote the lyrics or music. The same happened with Baal HaSulam. We have lyrics back to King of David. It's around 3,000 years ago. Tehillim, the Psalms. That's what King David wrote, and more. We have more text from those days, from the period of the first temple or a second one, more than 2,000 years ago. But we don't know actually the music to them. It was not really recorded. We have signs in the text how to read it with the intonation. What are the intonation that should this text be read with? But the actual music sheets are not did not come to our times. They were not that important because it has to come out from the person. So after all those Kabbalists, Baal HaSulam and the Spirit, very short one, when he wrote a lot of melodies of his own. How did he write them? He just sang them to his students, and the students grasped them right away and then put them into, recorded them actually. I actually remember this, like this old cassette, where the old tape recorders, and with those cassettes, and he recorded all of them. I heard those recordings. They were quite old and bad quality, but we renewed all of them where you can see them actually, and familiarize yourself with them in our archive in our website. Same for Rabash. Can you say that 7 notes connect to 7 Sefirot? Yes, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. We have 10 Sefirot, starting from B9 up and further. 8 notes. They're all connected with the 7 notes. It's all the same system. The same of the colors of the rainbow or sounds, that doesn't matter. It's all built on one system of Zeirampin, the correlation of Zeirampin and Malchut. In one of the books of Baal HaSulam, there's it says that it's in England. When he was in England and he sat down and he started playing the piano. And his helper came up to him and said, "I didn't know that you can read music." "Oh no," he said, "I just hear it. I hear it." That was a very, very simple answer. There's another story also about a person that just discovered that he can speak Hebrew somewhere in a village in Siberia. Yeah, it's the same how Baal HaSulam started playing music. He feels it. Yeah. Another question from Kiev. What is the book that contains the greatest light of Baal HaSulam? Shamati. You didn't even say that the study of Sensefirot. Yeah, of course not. The study of Sensefirot is a very difficult book. It cannot be attained by a person easily, and it cannot get the light out of it right away now. Another question. Is it correct to think when I read the sources that we connect to those Kabbalists and then the help from them is coming upon us? Is that correct? Yes, we are being included in their souls, in their system of perception. Another question. Plovdiv. Hi. How can we read the articles of Rabash and Baal HaSulam correctly? I don't know how to answer that. First of all, I'd read them if I were you, if you're just starting to study Kabbalah and haven't went through any spiritual states. I would just write them from beginning to the end. I would take an article, I would take another one tomorrow, and then like that. I would read it every day, fulfilling myself to an ultimate degree with all the states. I'm in a bus somewhere, on a subway, somehow I'm holding this book and reading it. I'm opening it and at every moment that I have. And furthermore, it will start working upon you in the right way. But before, of course, you have to learn Pticha, the introduction into the study of Kabbalah, and the rest of the studies of Baal HaSulam and Rabash. There's a lot of material, but the materials about the group that Rabash wrote, the first 20 articles, you must read those. You have to put some notes out of it, render them, and you'll have the page of a summary out of them, of every article. The way I studied was that I read an article on Baal HaSulam or Rabash, in a book or other way, and I did a short summary. Maybe it was wrong or incomplete. It was not. This didn't matter. That was my goal, and that's how I had an impression inside of me after what I've read. And when time passed, and I would do the same, and I would realize what I've written was wrong, but it was still good. There's a lot of material that is translated and systemized into Russian language as well as English. Is there such a thing in Kabbalah as the as cult of a personality, cultivating one personality? Well, from my attainment, I cannot afford myself to measure the attainment of the Kabbalists. So I'm speaking very openly and frankly. It doesn't matter what I attain and feel, and what spiritual space I am in right now. I am like a 15-year-old lad in a teenager between sages up there, and in a spiritual world, when you attain that in a way that I am, it shows that you're just a teenager and don't know so many things. So I can't open my mouth and criticize anyone. It's the greatest teachers as I had, Rabash and Baal HaSulam, and further on Baal Shem Tov, Ari, and the rest. I can't even imagine that I can say anything about them. What can I criticize there? It's all just pure attainment of godliness. There's nothing to add. I accept their books as ultimate knowledge. These are the people that never erred until their level. The difference between them is that they attained everything from the root of their own soul, and then that's why they have the difference in expressing the material. And it's amazing because I can read it from different sources, and I can and it develops me those different interpretations. Baal HaSulam exceeded the limits of the conception of a Kabbalist. He met a lot of well-known people. Can you talk about it during his time? Can you talk about it? Well, he tried to promote Kabbalah by any means possible. He met other Kabbalists also, or simple people, scientists, politicians. When in Poland there was a revolution, he went there and demonstrations and he wanted to encourage the workers there and talk to them and wanted to tell them about the difference that Kabbalah can bring to their lives. He really tried by all means. Rabash was quite more modest than Baal HaSulam, and he already existed in the times where there was a great resistance to Kabbalah, so he didn't really move that much. I grew up together with them in this way, and I saw how limited he was in his actions. What could he do? When he passed and I started working to continue his path, my goal was to spread this knowledge as much as possible in all the languages and internet and all the sources that are there. I was ready to be condemned, to be cursed, to be everything, and that's till now how I exist in this world. That's my goal. That's beautiful. But Rabash, he was also very revolutionary. He accepted like 40 non-religious, very far from everything that students. And you came up to him. I remember the people came up to him and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Yeah, he did accept those people, but he didn't do that roughly. He did a great leap in spirituality forward. It was not that easy to spread Kabbalah back then. Also, we talked about it. Dear teacher, I am falling asleep when they're reading the study of 10 Sefirot, but Zohar really fascinates me. Do I still have to go on listening to this, or no? If you're a woman, you don't have to actually read this. You can read articles. Read articles of Baal HaSulam, his letters and articles. Well, there's a lot of women that study Kabbalah, and they're asking how can they live emotionally and connect to the writings of Baal HaSulam. Well, it doesn't matter, man or woman you are, you still connect to the text, and we are creatures, so that's how we connect. There's no special ways for women. It says that for men and for women, everyone has to study where his soul calls him. By this calling, if you like Tess, read it. If you liked Shamati more, read it. wherever it is more comfortable and convenient for you, where you feel that you're fulfilled more. St. Petersburg, please. Hello, dear Rav. Do we have to connect to the teacher internally during the lessons or webinars, or with the 10? You have to connect to the 10. You have to make sure that you and your 10 are one whole, and that's only then you can listen to the teacher and hear what he's saying. The main is your 10, but what to do in a 10, that's what you have to study for.
Сочи.
То есть я вот слышал, что получается Baal HaSulam, он первый.
I heard that Baal HaSulam was the first one who felt the necessity to disseminate Kabbalah. After that it was Baal HaSulam, now it's you. But what was very special during the times of Baal HaSulam, that he was the first one that got this knowledge inside of himself that he needs to disseminate right now, though he lived around 100 or 80 years ago. What really happened back then? What happened was that there was a great turn in the world. The world started changing drastically. It started being very, very egoistic. There was a scientific revolution, cultural revolution. In many, many countries, the regimes were changed. The pagans went to cities, industrialization, and the world became more centralized, more demanding. And that's why it was permitted to disseminate the wisdom of Kabbalah in a more, so to say, more realizable way. That the person started asking already, why do I live? What do I live for? Not just like this, I live next to this cow of mine and live the same way. No. The person started connecting to the world and culture and the connection between people, and it was a completely different humanity in the 20th century. The 20th century really did something new to people that was never done before. That's why Kabbalah was revealed. Question from Baku. Another question of a person that does everything possible, 3-5 years, and then does not reveal anything. Yeah, everything that is written in the introduction of the 10 of Talmud of Esther Sefirot, when they start learning the regular Torah, they know that it was given to correct oneself, Torah. That's why when you study during the 3 years the regular Torah and you don't see the result, then you have to switch to Kabbalah. That's what we say, it's a chance. Studying of a Kabbalah is a chance for any person who studies Torah or does not study Torah. There is a letter of Baal HaSulam when he says that he has merited the reincarnation of the soul of Ari. Is it the same soul? Yes, it is the same soul. It's called the Ibur of Neshamot. Hi Rav, hi the world Kli. Can you tell us please if you communicate with any of the greatest Kabbalists in spirituality, and if yes, what information do they pass to you? Next question. Hi teacher, we are from an art environment, and the question is, how do you see the art in Kabbalah from the point of Kabbalah? Maybe we can also create a cartoon for little Kabbalists. What do you think about that? Well, I'll tell you. Kabbalah is just starting its development. It's awaiting for you. You will get it from us, you will develop it, you will reveal it to people in many aspects. You will be able to tell and to let people feel what the revelation of the upper worlds give us. And afterwards, you will have it for kids and for adults. You'll start building certain brochures or little study books, little written materials that would develop them in order to start feeling the upper world and the states, the relationship between people. I feel that there is a place for all sorts of artwork, even drawing and painting, though it never happened in Kabbalah, but for kids maybe. Just to start depicting and then your feelings in through the art. And you, with the help of your the art that you're engaged in, you'll be able to transmit this emotionality, the emotional world of Kabbalah. Furthermore, is there an end of studying in Kabbalah? Yes. It is actually in the world of eternity. Because even when we leave that world, we continue our attainment in spiritual world outside of our bodies. Don't worry, everything is ahead of you. And what's the final stage that the person have to come to? It is the connection, the total and complete connection between the Creator and all its creatures in one desire. Dmitry from Pskov is asking, Kabbalah is also a legacy that who was the teacher of Baal HaSulam? Yes, the teacher. He was taught by so-called teacher from Pursov. It's a little city close to Warsaw where he lived. Baal HaSulam went to him and studied with him, but when he saw that, well, he is already ahead above his teacher, he decided that it's time to leave Poland and immigrate to Israel, and that's how he actually did. Question from St. Petersburg. I'm reading the books about Kabbalah, and they're all about these different feelings, but then they all fly away from my head. It's good. It's good. I'm reading and I'm emotionally involved in all the states that I'm reading about, but it's good that they disappear. It's not the most important is that you went through them and you work through the measure that you had to work through. The most important here is that you don't have to contain anything inside of you, in your memory or in your feelings, in brain nor in your mind. Everything has to flow. The next stage will be upper and higher than the previous one for sure, so that for that you have to leave the space, empty the space and room for it. How can we make an archive more accessible to people? Well, first of all, archive that we have. I myself is a very big egoist. I made 5 copies of our archive in whole, and there are in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Kiev, and Toronto, in Israel, and somewhere in Europe. So, regardless of what will happen, our archive would still live and exist, and you will always have access to the internet. Would fall, Facebook would fall, you will still have our archive available. If you have this little box in your house to put all your archive in, if you have an opportunity to put this box in your house, we can do that too, but it's very kind of expensive, kind of several $100,000, but we can still do it. We can put it in Australia or South America. This archive will work. If, God forbid, Russia would be isolated from the whole world, it will still have an archive in its internet. So, to sum up, we are not giving up that easy. Yes, I do everything that depends on me. Question from St. Petersburg. You said to summarize the articles of Rabash. Do I have to write it with my own words or the citations from the article? No. With only my own words. That the way I understood. Doesn't matter that I err or make mistakes. No. The most important is that you lived it through. You went through that state. It's how Rabash was writing, was looking at his notes and said, wrong, stroke that. Yes, that's how you went through states. You go through states. Another question from Kiev. When I read the Baal HaSulam, I feel like I am rolling from one state to another. How not to exit from this internal flow? How to stay together with an offer? For this you need great exertion, and even if you fail, don't worry, you will come to it again. Don't try to hold yourself in one state, in spiritual state. Kabbalists even pray to forget everything and start over again. Can you imagine that? To what extent they really realize that new states are better than the old ones? And don't be afraid of anything. Just let the flow govern upon you and let it take you further. Another question. I feel like I don't really need the scientific approach anymore. I read Kohelet, I read Psalms, though I don't understand anything in it. Is it scary? It is scary, yes. You need to read with a feeling that you understand it, though. It says that the heart understands. So you have to have a certain correlation between understanding and feeling from one to another. One controls another and defines another. Well, another question. The purpose of reading a Kabbalistic book, is it to go with the same emotion, connect with the same emotion that the author was going? Of course, you can't really go into the same depths of the author's emotion, but to a certain extent, yes. Another question from Novosibirsk. Can a student start studying the writings of Baal HaSulam or right away, or does he have to prepare himself for it? I'd start with the articles, like general ones, to prepare the student. Those general ones, like the giving of the Torah, the Arvut, those articles, mutual guarantee. It's very certain articles. This is of Baal HaSulam. This is what I would start with. Another question. The Kabbalists wrote their texts in codes, or is it directly that I have to read them? Directly you have to read them. But afterwards you would discover that reading them you discover different layers, different meanings. But you reveal yourself in the text. but not any secrets in the text. Reading the text, you reveal yourself in a different way. There is no codes, no nothing in them. That the code is inside of you, inside of your reaction to the same words, and the reaction to the words would be completely different. You'll be wow, like so captivated by what is being revealed inside of you. Then the text itself would be the same text. The book will be the same book. You will read it though in a completely different way now. It will tell you something smart in the beginning, but in upcoming years you will see the structure of the upper world that you find yourself in while reading the book. A question from Russia. Rabash never told you how many years did it take him to attain the spirituality? No, I was not. Did it interest you? No. Really? Doesn't matter. Tell me, what is our life for? Where can I exchange it for other than that? What is this life for? Are there any scale? What do I measure it with? How do I fill it in with? What do I fill it in with? It's like a rag that I throw away. So if I know that there's one precious and worthwhile science that can lead people towards perfection, then you don't really have to occupy yourself with anything else. You have to procure your life, daily life, and all the rest devote to spirituality. What is the meaning of death to a Kabbalist? No meaning. So if I now would say, you see an old person in front of you, me, myself, but something happens to me, I'm very, very, very confident and calm about it. The only thing that I would think about is to give a very, very good lesson tomorrow and to shake off my lazy students all over the world. That is the only thing that I'm worried about. Nothing else is important to me. I hope that it'll be like that for some time more, and this is what I'll live for. Some announcements. We have a registration open for the new course of the Foundations of Kabbalah. Please sign up. There is the link under the video. You can sign up, subscribe to our newsletter, and comment there, and connect to each other. Wishes for the week. I wish. I don't know if you participate in our lessons. Oh, of course they do. We have very, very difficult lessons, but it's very worthwhile listening to them. What we went through during those last 4 days, I advise you really to listen and then continue forward, because it's the main stages of entering the spirituality, and it's the perception of the Creator through your friends. What else? A little bit. One more little advice. It is the summary of the books that I read. Do I have to show it to someone, or do I have to burn them? No, you can leave it for yourself. If nothing bad's gonna happen, even if someone will see them or hear them. No. You can look at them in a couple of years. I actually saw my archive where I wrote my things. It's just like not interesting for me anymore. It's been so many years. It's past, passé. Okay, friends, thank you very much. Good luck to you. we're going through very good times now, very good holidays. And let's be together so the luck will be with you in the revelation of the upper world and the Creator and the revelation of the soul. My hugs to you. Be healthy.